So how'd I end up here? Well, about a month ago, I contacted a property owner, asking if they needed some help, and they said it's not really a good time right now, but I do need invasive species removed to make room for a food garden, food forest. Yeah, because there's going to be trees in a little garden, so food forest garden. Anyways, that and other minor projects. You'll be mostly hanging out here all by your lonesome with no phone, no internet, no TV, but you have plenty of land to explore, and that's what we'll be doing. So let's take a look. Oh. So why did I come here? Well, it's been a hectic last couple years, and finally got to the point to where I felt comfortable enough to breathe a little bit and go ahead and do my own thing. Plus, sometimes you know when you're not needed, and you know when you're not particularly wanted. There's some bees up there. Not going to get close to that because I don't want to get stung a bajillion times, even though there's suits up in the house. Anyways, so yeah, down there in old Virgie KY, there's really nothing going on down there. Nothing much to do, no one really to talk to. And trust me, peeps, I try and keep settled down. It's really difficult, especially for someone like me that's always on the move. And that's kind of what attracted me to this place. Thankfully, they trusted me enough to stick around here and get some stuff done. But the main reason I came here, other than to get calluses on my calluses and dirt underneath my nails again, is I just needed some me time. No distractions besides my own BS. And do some thinking. And thinking is what I've been doing. And I'm not going to get too into it. But the thing I've probably taken away from this the most, ironically enough, is being lonely sucks. Now, there's a difference in between being by yourself and being lonely. I'm used to being by myself. But, being lonely is having a bonfire wishing that someone was next to you. Being lonely is not having anyone to reach out to or someone reaching out to you at 7 in the evening whenever you're on the porch watching the sunset. Being lonely is looking in the mirror and not even recognizing who you see. Being lonely is working hard and no one's around to applaud you. Now, the property owner, they come in about a day every week to check the place out, drop off some supplies of theirs, and then they, head back. They live in a different town. They bought this, I'm going to say, about 4 or 5 years ago. Where we're at now is where the old settlers, I guess you can call them, were staying. And the house I'm in now was built in 2007. And the remnants of the old barn is somewhere up there. I'm sure we'll explore it. But yeah, there's fault of my own and faults of others, and that's another thing I've, kind of been coming to terms with. Sometimes it really is someone else's fault, and you can't put all the blame on yourself all the time. And, well, ironically enough, that's one of my biggest faults is, trust me, I'm well aware of my own, nonsense. That's part of the reason I don't really recognize the dude in the mirror. Because a couple years ago, that very same dude had some creative juices going. He wasn't worried about, talking to people. He was a little bit of a different dude than the one talking right now. And there's been a couple times too, since my stay here, that current me, I guess free-spirited me, and the dude who came before that, the really, I don't even know how to explain, the angel and the devil were on my shoulders, put it that way. It's just sometimes the devil's on my right and the angel gets left. And I'm stuck in the middle. And once again, being lonely sucks. Because there's an empty seat here. And I'd be lying if I didn't say I wish there was someone here that, I could just BS with. Stare at this little man-made pond that used to be higher. You might be able to see it like right about there. My personal relationships have always been awful. I made a couple friends that lasted about a year or so. There's been a couple of ladies over the years. I'm going to be honest with you, though. Being on the move and given my own history makes forming, friendships or otherwise very, very difficult. I'm not even good with it with my own family. And yeah, it's really difficult to put trust in someone when you've lost a lot of people. And there's various ways of that happening. And just the way the world is nowadays, you don't know. You just don't know. And I'm a very simple dude. I barely know how to work this thing I got in my hand right now. This is me. And, well, a couple vultures, deer, bees, and turkeys. 2. There is a dog that comes here with the owner named Lima. Very friendly pooch. Haven't seen a single cat though. It's kind of weird. Which ties right back into what I was just going on about. My kitty Ray. That was the catalyst that finally, got me to get going again, because even though people come and go, places change, he's been my one constant companion ever since the day he was born. And she'll be 5 on November 7th. And then, about a month and a half ago, I finally felt comfortable enough for him to go ahead and become the outdoor kitty that he always wanted to be. You know, he was in a safe enough area, no risk of trains, traffic, except other feral cat that's been running around. It's been terrorizing the others. And, you know, he disappeared for a couple days. There's been some meowing here and there. But whenever I finally seen him again, you know, he came up to me, I booped his nose, he meowed, and he went back underneath the building. Now he's staying close to home. It's just he's become the Mufasa of Little Fork. And as my granny said it, that was his way of saying, hey man, we're cool, but I got my own life to live, and so do I. And it hurt, you know. It did. But at least I know he's close to home, doing his thing. I think he's got himself a little girlfriend. He got a spot up in the hill. And, that's pretty thick. I'm not going to go through that. Because right over there is the next property owner. But, yeah. At the same time, though, it enabled me to go ahead and freely move around, because at the end of the day, he is a cat, and a lot of people don't like cats. And Ray, he's always been a feisty little critter, and he's really good at hiding. I don't know what he's up to now. I'm not much for praying, because that's another thing I've gained a pretty bad distrust of over the last couple years, but I'm not going to get into that. Not religious, man, but definitely spiritual. And whenever you pray, you gotta be thankful for the good and send out thoughts to whatever's on your heart, mind, and soul. And there's people out there right now. I'm not going to get into it, because this is about my cat. And, you know, I give him a thought, a shout out. But, yeah, I really have no companions right now. And that's been the thing since being here. Just gonna put a little bow tie on it, because I'm droning on about it enough. Being lonely sucks. And hopefully whenever I get to where I'm going, tomorrow, I won't get there till Tuesday afternoon. I'll figure out how to be a people person a little bit better. Because I can be awesome. And trust me when I say it, I don't want to be the main character. There's no syndrome there. I don't even want to be the main character in my own story because this story's boring. Much like these last couple minutes, I'm sure it's been boring, but I don't do this for a lot of people to watch. I'll do it that way I can upload it, save it to myself, and watch it back. Who knows, maybe 10, 15, 20 years from now. And maybe then I'm finally able to settle down. Good job, good people. And finally breathe a sigh of relief. It's part of the reason I go ahead and explore like I do, though. Not only is it wonderless, I would have never known about this place if I didn't send that first message. And now that all that's out of the way, let's talk about this place a little bit. We are in Peebles, Ohio, if I didn't mention that already. It is about 100 miles northwest of Ashland. And we are at the edge of a impact crater. And also the Midwest. And also the Appalachians. As you can see, it's hilly, but not really mountainous. It's flat, especially whenever you go off that way. And Serpent Mound is about 2 miles away. I believe it's there. And its head is pointing that way somewhere. And you can't really see it now, but the highest elevation here is a peach hill, which is a little over 1,000 feet. And we are at an elevation of around 800. Oh, look at that, the moon. I don't know if you can see it or not. Gross. Anyways, yeah, whenever we get back up that hill to the house to show you what I've really been, hammering out over the last couple weeks, you won't be able to see the peachy hill. But the biodiversity of the critters and plants and trees, critters and plants, is definitely interesting, I will say that. It's pretty crazy what can happen just within a couple miles from what you're used to. There's some fossils in the creek way down there. There's a way to get down there, but I have to go up and around and through the forest, and I'm not going to do that right now, because that right there is like a 30-20 minute long hike. I could cut right through the cornfield, but you gotta be respectable. But yeah, there's definitely interesting things going on here. Which is wild because, once again, only about 100 miles from Ashland, and even Ashland's kinda not in the pocket of the mountains, like, Pike, Floyd, Johnson County. And another thing is being cut off from the mountains. The few times I went out to the store, like Lowe's or whatever, get apparently the one and only machete in existence. The accent up here is clean. Not a hint of twang, not a draw. You ain't even got that fast pace talking, like they do up in PA. It's really off-putting. But I don't know enough about the people to really judge them. Not that you shouldn't be judging people, especially in 2024. What I mean by that is I can't really give an opinion on them other than the fact that they got a really clean accent. Anyways, right here is the remnants of the old barn from the early 40s. Oh. This is dangerous to walk through. Oh, because it's a concrete foundation still. And this stuff is still kind of high. So we will go this way. Haven't ran across many snakes though. There's a couple copperheads. Ow. I fell right there. A couple copperheads. That's about it. Yep, right there it is. Let's go check out the top of it first. Modern archaeology right here. Who knows what all has been done here by who? Outside of, well, all this. And I'm going to assume up that hill where the house is was flat until they built a house. And the current owners picked it up. This is not remnants of anything out there. I'm reckoning I was just like, probably just a little party space. Or they put material up there to bring down the hill to do all this. Oh, good Lord, there was a hole right there. Oh, easy does it. Still got dew everywhere too. And I'm not wearing my knee braces. So, yeah. Oh, that's soft. Oh. And I'm not wearing sunglasses or a hat either, so. Whew. It's been another thing. I haven't really wore anything to protect my eyeball that I can't see out of, or my legs for that matter. Because, yeah, I can work at my own pace here. I don't have to go gung-ho on everything. And if I start to ache or get a headache, I can just stop and continue on. I mean, it's 24 hours in a day. And unlike Kentucky, it stays bright here for a while. There ain't no gigantic mountains just blocking, the sunlight at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But anyways, right here we are. Some metal, and you can already hear the echo from in there. But let's go in. Yep. This is all that remains. Oh man, it got chilly in here, yeah. Like out there, it's still somewhat warm, especially for the end of October. But in here, yeah, it's definitely chilly. There's no insulation, it's just nothing but concrete. And there's some like old wiring. Fix this place up a little bit, it'd be awesome for well, not that. It'd be awesome for like a little jam place. In the age of AI, places like this right here could be easily emulated but never replicated. Anyways, let's go up the hill here. More of the foundation. Down the little path. Oh, I haven't done much down here. Oh. There we go. Since I've been here, though, I have gotten contact with the head of stewardship in a thing they got around here called Arc of Appalachia. And what it is it's this organization that formed about 22 years ago to try and preserve as much as they can of Ohio's wilderness and older like farms and ranches and stuff like that. I don't know what that is. It's covered in weeds and stuff, and I'm not going to bother with it. But and the stewardship thing is at one of these farms or ranches, or just like a couple acres of protected forestry. They set up a little shack, and there's people who live and work at these places to kind of, you know, keep an eye on them, make sure they're prettied up. So I got in contact with this dude. He said they're slowing down for the winter. We get a hold of him in February and see what happens. And that's right up my alley. Not only will it keep me planted for a while, but I might actually be able to sprout some good stuff out of it. Have good fruit to bear. Now, once that happens, it's going to be a challenge at first. But as I mentioned beforehand, I suck at personal relationships. With something like that, yeah, man, whatever. Wouldn't mind finding my person soon to explore the world with. You know, there was someone I told about all this way back in, February of this year. They had a couple months to get their stuff straightened out. They three-way golden opportunity. And I told him, you know what, man? See what happens at the other side of this. They made a poor decision, and I'm not losing any sleep over it. It's one of the numerous ways you can lose someone. Sometimes it's best to just cut them off, despite being a twin flame, as it were. Because it's like the old thing with a fruit basket. Put a moldy orange in a bowl full of oranges, they're all going to get moldy. I could have done better, But at the same time, anytime I tried to help this individual out, it just kept messing up. I was driving myself crazy. And then it dawned on me, you just gotta make the difficult decisions. And they may be regrettable. It's just how it is. There's the Peach Hill. You can barely see it, but yep. It's the highest elevation around here. 1,000-something feet. I don't even think it hits 1,100. Well, I'm back up the road here. I guess we can talk a little bit about regrettable decisions and how that affects people. Since I've been here, I've also thought about my excursion up to Traverse City, Empire, Honor, Michigan, back in May of 22. And I made a video about that. I haven't watched it back, I think, since I uploaded it. Partly because I just don't have it in me. And there was good people out there I met. People that were willing to help me out. I even tried to give it a go at staying up there. Because I don't say this word very often. But I fell in love with the place, the people. And, you know, you get bored at the lake. You go hang out in the woods for a little while. It's very multicultural, peaceful, and it was just nice for the most part. And I say the most part because too much of a good thing isn't necessarily a good thing. And I only went out there with a suitcase and $80. Only intended on being up there for about 2 weeks to do some renovations in an old factory place that was going to turn into an apartment, a couple apartments. And the host is a really cool dude. His buddy I was working with was a really cool dude. There was a gal there that, when I say sparks fly instantaneously, and I was the very first person I think I ever met like that. I was like damn near a mirror image. Not quite the same, but a mirror image. And I could have stayed up there, but going back to losing people, the same one I just mentioned, you know, we had it all planned out. We were going to go ahead and split the rent down on an apartment if we can find one, because her living situation wasn't necessarily the best either, and she didn't want to leave because she, much like myself, just ended up there one day and decided to stick around. And I wish I knew what happened as a whole. It just didn't work out. It kind of, I think it was a combination of, I was scared of settling, and she was scared of commitment. Now, it's not like we were going to get married or anything like that. We were just two kindred spirits that had a heck of a spark between us. And them 2 weeks ended up being a month and a half. And then whenever it came go time, I sat in a baseball dugout for a good 7 hours contemplating what I should do. And I came with the very difficult decision of I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for the area. There's still unfinished business down in Kentucky. I wasn't going to bend and Ray. I got blinded and dumbfounded by the area up there. And given my current mindset at the time, it just... sometimes you gotta get slapped in the face with a bar of gold to realize the edges can cut you. And, I regret that decision. There's other decisions, are regrettable in the past, but it's probably been a big one over the last couple years. If it came down to it again, in October 2024, then yeah, it would have played out much differently. Me personally, because I can't say much for others. And hopefully whenever I return to Michigan on Tuesday in Battle Creek, which is hours south of from where I was, but it's still the same state. My couple weeks here by my lonesome will somewhat pay off. A couple thousand miles I put under my shoes since then. The experience will level me up. Speaking of leveling up, we are at the tippy top of the hill right now. And these 2 trees are planted at it. Or 3, I guess. That's the house that was built in 2007. Not going to talk about that right now. I'm sure I'll show off, the little room I've been staying in. I'm mostly packed right now. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Right here is what's left of an old place set. I was about 10 foot high and rickety as hell, and it was fun to maneuver around because I'm not necessarily a feather. It was fun taking down though. Right, there's the foundation, the post, the swings. And it was fun taking down because this right here, I've had my fair share of concussions over the years, but I was trying my hardest to make sure that didn't knock me out. Because this big bolt right here was not wanting to come out. So what I had to do was, that end right there was on the railing of the platform up the ladder, and there was an old broken board that was underneath that one. So I unscrewed the bottom of the railing and got out of the way, pushed that a little, and thankfully my plan worked out. The force of the weight and let gravity do its thing. I broke the rotten board and nothing else, protected the railing, and whoop. Anyways, speaking of going down, I can't speak at all. I'm not even a good narrator. Going downhill, or down here, I try to say here and hill at the same time. But yeah, going down this way, you're already going downhill. And we're not going down that way because that's where we just were. And off way over there is like a 40 foot drop. And there's a lot of cliffs around here because not only was this a impact crater and obviously it's going to push the ground up, but geologists aren't too sure if the place was at the very least a swampy marshland whenever said asteroid hit or what, because a lot of these tall cliffs are very smooth, got sediments in it like the layers, very heavy on limestone in this area. So there's a lot of limestone cliffs with like thin layers of, I forget what it's called, but it's something only asteroids or meteors carry, and it's very rare here on Earth. There's this diagram above the piano I've been jamming out on. So we'll take a look at that. So, yeah. And they think this area turned out the way it did because, you know, when an asteroid hits or whatever, you know, it's going to push the ground up, and then there was some tectonic movement going on with the foothills of Appalachia, and the mountains like, no, dude, you're not going any further. So there's definitely a couple sinkholes in the area as well. That's not a sinkhole though. That's just deer stuff trying to get into the plants. But over here is like the last project I did. Well, actually, it's the second to the last. The last one I did was fix up some older stairs. But yep, a bunch of wood chippies from trees. Right there, see? Boop. Admittedly, it was kind of fun, besides the one time that, yeah, the thingy got choked up. Some more plants. This is the beginning of the food forest. Greenhouse, which hasn't been used since I got here. Some little dudes growing up. This was an old doghouse from the previous owners that had a wire running to it from somewhere. Thankfully, it wasn't alive, but it was buried up underneath like the old foundation. And right here's the beginning. There's some compost. You gotta have your compost. But yeah, 75% of my time here, if I wasn't, you know, asleep, was right through here. And this was fun. You know, I'm not worried about a little bit of hard work. Just don't kill yourself when you're doing it. It's part of what attracted me to this place. Because I have been getting kind of lazy. Part of that is, once again, there ain't much to do down that way. And even if there was, it's nothing like this. And I couldn't do what I wanted to do what needs to be done, without, someone barking at me all the time. Now, there is a need for structure. I've had bullet points I had to hit since I've been here. But I'm confident enough in my abilities, no longer call myself an amateur. Good Lord, I've been doing this over half my life. I'm very well aware of my own abilities. And they definitely got put to some use here. But yeah, there's parsley, mint, oregano, like the really small, spicy stuff in here. And off over that away is another decline. You can't see it from here because we're right next to the trees. But pretty much the sky meets the hill. And I haven't explored over there, because I think it's another, not particularly straight cliff, but another pretty steep drop off. And it leads into another property owner. And as much as I like to explore, I didn't come here to bumble around on other people's property, that is. Because this isn't Kentucky, where there's miles upon miles upon miles upon miles of practically nothing. Then I don't know these people. I don't know the area. But yeah, this whole entire bottom right here was chest high of this stuff. Starting from about here. And I haven't bothered with none of this because there's little blue flags over there, and she's like, well, I can't remember what all I have going on in there, so just don't bother it, but get around my little tree. But yep, this whole entire bottom right here was covered. Not only that, but there were trees about that size just spotted everywhere here. And this was the only little path. And this is the tip of the food forest she's wanting to grow. And there's a path up there. There's a path that splits right where that tree is with the green flag. Right there. I could have done more, but all I had was a literal electric chainsaw, machete, clippers, and thick gloves. And it's a good thing I had thick gloves. Because this was much higher up about 5 days ago. But this is nothing but multi-flora. And oh my god. It hella sucked. I'd be pulling thorns out of my back, out of my arms, my legs, even though I wore a long sleeve, and oh god. Oh. I haven't been able to burn it yet. Because owner wants to do it herself. To keep from spreading everywhere. And minimize my mistakes, if there was any to be made. And after she got back last weekend, I was like, holy cow, this might have to be 2 piles. We'll worry about that later. But since I'll be leaving soon, hopefully they have a nice little powwow around it. I won't miss it though, but it was kind of cool that it all started to get like really domey, like an igloo, and this is like the doorway of it. Right here is a bunch of honeysuckle and where's the other one? Sassafras trees. It's in their own little pile. Like right here's the honeysuckle, on the other side's all the sassafras. This right here is red cedar. So yeah, right there's all three piles. Cedar, sassafras, and honeysuckle, and multiflora. I cleared down this way a good bit. Apparently so did some critters. And this leads right to the behind the house. This is the only thing worse than multiflora is these little thorny guys, which I've had to keep an eye out for and had to put up some older posts to make sure I don't get poked, prodded and poked and pierced and punctured. All this used to be all of that. There's a bunch of little stumps everywhere that I've tripped over. Thankfully, the chainsaw's got an auto shut off. Well, I mean, technically they all do the second you let go the trigger, but this one right here, it's got like a little faceplate guard thing that just kind of shuts the whole thing off whenever it gets like locked up and whatnot. Anyways, I don't know. It did its job. You know, I had to replace the chain like twice on it because some of these guys are a pain to get down, just like this. Well, I don't care much for the camera, but right there's in the shadow. Say hi. Yeah, there's about 20 of these little multiflora piles and just junk I've raked up. Because I just couldn't put no more on that guy. No more. Did have a little handsaw though, and thankfully these were a bunch of softwood trees, and I can just. There's some of the smaller ones. It was a good little workout. My cardio is not the best, and it definitely got an XP boost while I've been down here. This right here was a honeysuckle tree that was growing sideways, and it was reaching all the way to like right where that is, right there, and about yay high. It was a big dude. I took a bunch of pictures while I've been here, and I'll probably just slap them together in a little slideshow video. I think I took like 2-3 pictures of it. I really liked it, and I tried to avoid cutting it down until like the very last. It just got in the way because I couldn't do nothing until it was gone, because there was other trees getting tangled up with it, like this one. And some of these, she put green tape on, and I had to take down, trees that were interfering with it, like this. And that's what that Sideways Steve was doing. Yeah, other than using a chainsaw for some of the bigger things, I mostly use a machete, clippers, gloves, and a Bluetooth speaker. Blasting out some bands I downloaded before I got here. It's the only thing I really got on my phone. Some country music, Metallica. That's about it. Because most of the time, I had YouTube Music available, and my 4G is not wanting to work. I think that's because instead of buying an actual airtime card, I bought minutes and used points for text. And I figured my 4G would have, done what it's supposed to do. I don't know how these things work. I only had this thing for a little over a year. That's because the job I was at the time. And I needed maps and to clock in and out and all kind of stuff. I need a smart device for it, even though I'm kind of dumb using them. But these things are supposed to be better too. And I dropped this stupid thing in a mop bucket back in February. So its speaker isn't the best. Oh, well, there's some deer that just ran down that way. 2 doe. But yeah, right here's the end. You can keep going. It circles back down around to like where the bees are. And over there is a straight drop that I mentioned. And when I talked about the sky meeting the hill, well, camera on this thing isn't the best either. I wish I still had my heavy duty camera that was actual, a camera, not this thing, a little $20 phone from Dollar General. But you gotta work with what you got. But yep, this right here was the very last thing I did. Got rid of this guy. You couldn't even walk up this way 3 weeks ago. Now I will say, if I didn't film all this, no one would believe I did it. But I did it, me, myself, and I. And I'm sure at some point over the last couple years, she's had better equipment and more people to tackle it. But I like a good challenge. If I'm feeling confident enough, I can complete it. And even then, I'm not satisfied with it. But the one who got me for the gig is. So, I reckon it's good enough. There we go. Go down here a little bit. Yeah, this is a better way of seeing it. I'm not going to go too far. Yep, going down that way is just... And we're almost at an hour on this. Oh, kudos to anybody that's even made it past the first 5 minutes. One of them viney thingies got wrapped around my leg just there. Anyways, we shall complete our little tour with my humble abode. I will say though, without distractions and influences of like what you see online or what you hear from people, my creative juices have been flowing. You know, it's not necessarily going to quench my thirst. I've worked on a couple of things I started a few years ago. I wrote like 5, maybe 6 new lyrics, poems, whatever people want to call them. I did a couple doodles. I've got a story idea, and fair warning, whenever I can get my dumb Chromebook to actually, use Google Docs offline, it's gonna be some dark subject matter. I mean, I'd prefer handwriting, but what I got in mind, I've tried novels, and before it just never worked out, but I got a pretty good idea this go around. I got another idea I've been tweaking on for years. And then once I brainstorm it, it might be able to go hand in hand. But yeah, I'm not writing and wasting paper on all that. This is where all these little wood chippies came from. This whole entire little section was full of that and those. Them were too big for the chipper. And that's just like fluff. I couldn't be made into wood chippies. And as for my last project here, unless there's one more thing to tackle, right before I leave. See what I mean? Just straight drop. Or not straight drop. It's curvy. We like curves. As these stairs, they were covered in, well, grass and whatnot. I had to dig them out, fix them up. Let's go inside. This has been my seat I've been chilling in. It's a nice view. There's a difference in living and living well, as the wise man once said. And it's better when you share it with someone else. I'm not an easy guy to get along with, but I'm cool every once in a while. So, any takers willing to take that seat? We're not going to explore every room because it's not my place to do that, but right here is the piano. It's out of tune. One of the keys are stuck. Yeah. And right here's the map. I went on about an hour ago. We are right there's Serpent Mound. Right there's the lake. We're right here at the tip. And you know what? Sometimes there's nothing wrong with just the tip. Whenever you get deeper, it gets better. And then you get to the whole hole. And then you can explore every inch. Yeah, that's my one per video. I had to get something in there, innuendo, even though it wasn't a good one. But whatever that word is, there's a lot of that where we're at. Alluvium, an Ohio shell, is like what most of them cliffs are made of. And limestone. So yeah. It penetrated deep and it stuff just came everywhere. Little kitchen. Not much going on here. Coffee. Leftover Pop-Tarts from this morning. Didn't really feel like eating. It's one thing I forgot to mention until just now. It's a vegetarian household. And after being all day on the road, the host was all like, oh, hey, you know, get whatever you want at Walmart. And I told her, I'm like, I don't want to, you know, I don't feel good having a vegetarian buy meat. And she's like, no, it's go ahead. It's good. So I bought burgers and L81, which I was kind of surprised to see up here. In my first couple days here, I ate nothing but burgers, L8, and barbecue chips. And oh my god, it was horrible. I appreciate a good burger, but I also got the cheap ones too, because I was still being respectable enough to at least get cheap stuff. My last like 2.5 weeks here though, it's been purely veggies and like seltzer water. That being said, I wouldn't mind a good old actual hamburger right now. Big old bacon cheeseburger with some fries and a tall glass of Coke. That being said, I say that a lot. I probably repeated myself a lot. Once again, I'm not a good narrator. I just say things. I did indulge in some macadamia cookies and a gallon of milk. Then I found a John bottle with that Melinda's truffle sauce. Pretty sure I said that was my favorite sauce in the video I did with the little sample packs. And yeah, I've seen a big bottle of it and it's good. You know what isn't good? This guitar and the strings that are on it. I decided to get a multi-pack of strings. And my cheapskate butt put the cheap strings on there and they're awful. I'm gonna have to actually get good strings. Because you go ahead and strum them and they just sounds like a can in a bicycle wheel until you get down to like the 8th fret and then it sounds somewhat normal. So yeah, I'm gonna have to find some decent shrinks. And there's the bathroom. Don't want to bother with it. Right in there's like a closet that some of my junk was in before I started packing. Right there's the fan. Get some airflow going in here because there's no screens, and there's been times I opened up the window and bees came in, and I decided to go ahead and keep them closed before another critter came in, like a skinwalker or a slenderman or something. My old reliable suitcase, it's packed with some books and other junk like art supplies, which is where I've been doing, obviously, all of there. Come up with some good ideas. It's quiet. Play some music in the background. Then turn on that lamp. Because it gets hot. I imagine that's why this little thing's here. Yeah, it's some good ideas here I would like to expand upon. Whenever that dumb Chromebook that's in there decides to work, I bought that thing 2 years ago for $98, and yeah, I would have been better off just going to $150 more to get an actual laptop. Because nothing on that thing wants to work unless it's app based, and I can't even download programs on it. So I can't even type nothing unless I go on the Google Play Store, look something up that specifically works for a Chromebook and offline, and a lot of my older files are RTF based, and I can't even find nothing without paying $30 for RTF formatting. Then Microsoft got rid of WordPad, which is when most of it was on. And yeah, it's just and then it's just a headache to try and edit videos, pictures, do some musical stuff on there. It's very good for bare basics. This isn't a tech review, but as someone that tries to balance the page and the screen, garbage can full of LaCroix and papers and everything else. This was covered in like crayon wax. A cube of former stuff. My water I've been refilling every couple days. Circle K water, no less. My bed. This thing right here. I ain't gonna lie to you, this is another reason why I kinda chose this place. There's some games I've been wanting to play for a while. Or finish off. The Witcher 3. Recently finished Hearts of Stone. Oh my goodness gracious, that thing is awesome. I can relate to Geralt in some ways. Always being on the move, many acquaintances, but few so-called friends. Then Olgierd on there, he was an interesting character. He's not a good guy, but he's sympathetic. Gaunter O'Dim, that dude was sus from the beginning, and he's evil incarnate. But yeah, it was great. I got to start Blood and Wine whenever I get to where I'm going, and that'll probably take up a good bit of time whenever I'm able to get on it and play. I do like Shawnee though. That's one thing that got me thinking about what I've been going on about is Shawnee there. I need. Anyways, before my video cut off. But yeah, I think my big fat palm hit the stop button. But we were just about at the end, anyways. But yeah, Shawnee, I need you. I could use a Shawnee. And I've been playing Saints Row the Third over the last couple days. It's good to start some chaos. Um, yeah, just that. It's been a little lifesaver. Well, speaking of crappy Google devices, I just got a thing. Maybe it wasn't my big fat palm, but it was you're almost out of storage. Whatever. But yeah, good games. Um, and it's a good distraction because I tend to get in some deep thought here for better or worse. And that's one thing that will probably never change about me unless I could lose my limbs and stuff is I'm a gamer. I'll be 80 years old and still playing Skyrim. But right here's this. That's cool. And then I brought this with me just on the off chance I can hang it up somewhere. And sure enough, there's a big old empty space here on the wall. And yeah, I like my Inuyasha, and that's a really cool throw blanket. But the heck is Slenderman in here? Alright, there we go. I'm gonna kick off my shoes. Go ahead and get something to drink because I'm jacking my jaw for a while. Oh man, them stink. Yes, I didn't wear socks. I only wear boots like this because I didn't know what I was gonna walk into. But yeah, just this is here. That's what I've been doing. I forgot about most of what I already said. I'll just say stuff in a moment. And my body's aching, my mind is clouded, and I'm not gonna say this is a life-changing experience, but 2024 has been the year of seemingly tying up loose ends and cutting the thread. And I would like to think that this is the potential start of weaving another basket case. But yeah, I really ain't got much more to say, so